Hello, very windy daily check-in. So I might try and do a close daily check-in, close daily check-in today. As always, it shouldn't be. Maybe it should be the daily interestings. The things that are interesting for today. Few interesting things. I've kind of noticed over the past. Sorry, as I said, it is super windy today. Super windy. So between the wind and the planes, it's just there's a lot going on, which is interesting. Bookmarked it. Yep, bookmarked that. If you have no idea what I'm saying when I'm saying I've bookmarked it, go and look back. There's another couple. There's videos I've done relating to bookmarking. I may probably talk about it again in the future. Whatever comes up, I talk about. Something that's kind of been happening during the week. Relating to... Can we be finished? My goodness. Relating to the hockey stuff. Seriously, it's like the slowest plane I've ever experienced. Maybe it's flying into the wind. And just acting or saying or behaving in a way that is a bit more than I would normally be. In like last week, it's all in relation to hockey. All in relation to hockey at the moment. And so last week it was the coach from the other team, just a dad from the other team, who was trying to make all these decisions and things. Anyway, it was a really intense time. Ultimately, really, I'm just a team manager. I'm not the coach or the coaches or the coordinator. Yes, go for your life. Have I had enough lunch to eat so that I can have the next section? Ultimately, I'm just a team manager. And so, really? And so that's what kind of keeps coming up in my head. Like, ultimately, I'm just a team manager. Should I really be stepping into this situation? Should I really be making more of this thing than there needs to be? And so it's an interesting process because I find myself observing. And so the observing part, something that I've become really good at, is that stems from intuitive art, because intuitive art is the process of, how far, and this is what, I'm going to butcher her quote, but Kim Kranz has done probably many podcasts, but around it, because she's also an intuitive artist, but it's like how far I'm just the conduit. I'm just the energy flows through me and onto the paper. So how far out of it can I take myself, but still be creating something that's interesting and that people will want to look at and that people will be able to connect with. And I guess just kind of talking it through then, it's intuitive art. So whatever the energy is connects the people who are meant to be connected. So I guess, anyway. It's all about observing and seeing the patterns, and oh, I'm drawing that thing again, or I'm starting to draw like a sort of, I do this a lot in relation to eyes. Oh, I'm kind of drawing the shape of an eye. I'll continue. And then, I don't know. So that's observation is something that I've gathered from intuitive art. It's a practice, part of intuitive art that's important. Sort of being able to be in it, but at the same time observing from a higher vantage point. And it's kind of interesting now that I'm talking about it, because I feel like there is, like, part of this amalgamation process that I'm going through at the moment is bringing, like, we have talked about this before, we see the higher self as somewhere else outside of us, like higher else, somewhere else. But I feel like that my higher self is getting closer and closer and closer to being here, which is an interesting process. And so that's why the observing and the, also I think the those snippets of inspiration are coming more from, you know, a lot of times we're aware that information is coming, and then we decide, like, I've got free will, I'll figure out which way I want to go. Whereas this is kind of more, it feels like the energy is, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like closer, and it's all becoming one, which is interesting just saying it now, because that is the 4th stage of the Philosopher's Stone. And I realized this morning when I was talking with Chatty that I'm more in stage 3 than anything else of the transmutation process of the Philosopher's Stone, which is what I'm talking about, relates to like that next level intuition, living from intuition. What else? There was other things that Chatty was like, this is the things that you do, that's why you're in stage 3. Translating intense emotions into symbolic language. Yes, so as I've said, the past week I've kind of been working on that one. So because the energy has been super intense the past week with the hockey stuff, you know, the trigger of the hockey stuff, I've really felt to draw. And then it was super intense yesterday as well, because my little girl was at home sick, coughing all of her germs all over the house. And sickness in my eyes is exceptional. And while we're on that topic, so today I'm like, so how are you doing? How are you feeling today? And she's like, good. Yeah, I'm feeling really good. Still coughing, something shocking. Still blowing her nose a lot. But like good enough to get up and get dressed and want to do stuff. And I'm like, you can't do stuff, because yes, while part of me knows that viruses are great and that viruses are here to support our up-leveling and all the things, another part of me is like stuck in COVID, you know, the COVID years of not wanting to spread that shit. So it's an interesting thing. But she's just excited today. She's loud and excited and just can't sit still. And then as I was eating lunch, she pulled up a chair and just started creating. And then just before I jumped on here, she's like, I created this, and now I'm going to cut this here and do this, and I'm going to create this cloud and hang it on my wall. And so that's very much her up leveling and her being in that, what I was just talking about, like the translating, what did I say? Translating intense emotions into symbolic language. She's making clouds to hang in her bedroom. And is excited. And so it's interesting because we talk about, or I talk about, the up-leveling that occurs, thanks plane, the up-leveling that occurs when we're sick. And she's been sick for Thursday, Friday, and then today she's creating all this stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. And I also feel, because my husband's been sick, the two little ones, smaller ones, have been sick, and my eldest has had migraine last week. And it's interesting timing, because I feel like the energy has been so intense for me this week, that it feels like we're all going through this up-leveling together. And because our energy is so interlinked, you can't not. We talk about, or the spiritual community talks about making sure that you work on your energy, because that's all you can work on. You can't work on other people, you can't change other people. But because you're working on your own energy, that ripples out, and you don't have to speak of that ripple. You don't have to tell the people around you what is going on within that ripple and how they should feel within that. It doesn't need to be anything along those lines. It's just you work on you, and the energy, because we are so interlinked, the energy of the other people around you can't help but up level too, and do what needs to be done to up level as well. So then I did this yesterday I did this one. That there means relates to the third phase of the Philosopher's Stone transmutation process, or the Great Work. And so that's my code from that. That was relating to my kid and her coughing and spluttering her germs all over our house, everywhere. Which brings me to today. Today we had hockey this morning, and it was a home game, which generally great, we're at home. When we're at home and being the team manager, it's just a lot. It's a lot to do, because you've got to manage, sort of talk to the umpires, make sure the umpires have got the match day ball, make sure they know the rules. I mean, they know the rules most of the time, but make sure that they're there, make sure there's different people that have different jobs, as in parents from your team have different jobs that they need to do, and it's different people each time, so people don't get stuck in the canteen every week, making sure all the kids are there. So, and then at the end you've got to pay the umpires and talk to the team manager from the other team, and it's and so there's a bit going on, and there's two incidents I kind of look back on and I go, that was interesting. That looks even wetter than it was before. Yeah. I think you I don't know what you're doing, but it's going everywhere. It's going everywhere, Liam A. going everywhere.
Yeah, it is. Did you turn it to me?
I did turn the camera to you. Just hang it over a bit there. Just hang it. Yeah.
I need to come over here. No, I need to be over here.
Ah, the joys. Makes for good TV, right? Good viewing.
Hopefully it doesn't end up flying off.
It may. Why don't you just put it on the grass or something? It might make it... No, just leave it like that. Anyway.
Now it's stuck.
Okay.
No, I'm okay, Mama.
Fantastic. Yes, there was a couple of incidents where... And I guess just today, I felt like I was being a lot more than my normal self. Going up to people that I don't know, that I haven't spoken to before, but needing to for various reasons.
I don't want it to dry like this.
Okay, then just put it inside and it'll dry. It'll take a while, but just take
But
this.
all the water goes all over the fence.
I don't know, Nellybergs. Yeah, the coach had had a migraine, and so she was kind of struggling. Lucky we have a coach and assistant coach, and so our assistant coach was on the field the whole time because it's under 12. So the assistant coach, well, the coach is allowed on the field to like really be coaching them, etc. You want to come outside just for a bit to quietly do your daily check-in, your daily interestings. And so because she was, as in our main coach was off, and she was kind of struggling, and she was like, I can't yell too loud and blah blah, and so I was just kind of going with the flow, and I kind of look back and go, okay, did I overstep the boundary? Am I being too much? I was trying to console our goalie because he was, whenever he lets in goals, obviously he gets upset, but it's not his fault because the ball shouldn't get down that far, and all the things. And my son was upset as well, and there was two interesting moments within all of that, and so I was like yelling and so there was two interesting moments. One, my kid got quite upset.
How long are we going to be?
I don't know. Can I just do this, please? Thanks. My kid came off for a rest and started to get really upset because there was a mum on the other side, who was really quite loud, and originally said there's someone being mean, and so he was pointing at people, and I was like, and I think because there's so much going on as the team manager, and had so much going on outside of that, with all of the full-on energy recently, and just feeling really sensitive to energy as well. Really feeling really sensitive to feelings, to emotion. And so instead of, I guess, having a somewhat normal feeling towards something, it just, seems a lot more heightened. To the point where I went to take some underwear back last night because my family had lovingly purchased me some granny undies without realising they were granny undies. Not granny undies, high-waisted ones. And so I went to take them back, and the shop would not take them back because they're undies. Even though they're still in the rack, they're still in the hanger. And I was like, what? But I wanted to swap them for some nice ones. What? And so it just completely threw me, and I was just like that. As in, there's no words for the feelings, but I was upset, and I was like that. I was like, what? For the rest of the night. And then today, when my kid was crying because the lady was, and he was like, oh, she's being mean. And then I was like, oh, I'll go and, I'll go and say something to someone. I'll go and, I don't know, fix it. And I just went, clicked straight to irrational, like a rational mother. And I was sort of sitting with him, and a coach from our next team was like, oh, let's find out what was said, etc. And he couldn't say what was said. It's just the lady was really loud, and he couldn't think to play, and he was playing so well, and that it got in his head. It really got in his head, and excuse me, it just turned out that she was really loud. So but I just went straight into mode, which was interesting to observe. And then afterwards I'm like, oh my god, I probably look like an idiot. I wonder what that coach thinks of me now. And he's probably like, oh, she's such an idiot. And it's interesting to observe. Those feelings and thoughts come up, and I'm not pushing them away, I'm not pushing them down, I'm witnessing them, and I'm observing them as interesting. Bookmark. And so there was that, and then there was another part which is so minuscule, and I don't think anyone gives a shit, but for some reason it's kind of stuck in my head, or like when looking back at the game. And so I was kind of down one end. Like normally the team manager kind of stands on side, and I was aware because our team had just let through a few goals, and so the goalie, I wanted to sort of support him, and my kid was also really upset because he felt like it was all his fault. And so the coach was talking to my kid, and I was sort of talking to the goalie, and then the ball got down to our area again, and as in to our goals again, well, their goals again, and the umpire called what I thought was a short corner, and except that he said it was a long corner, and I was like, short corner, everyone, come on, get it. I went a bit spacky, and the umpires looked at me, he's like, it's a long corner. I'm like, okay, sorry, carry on, continue on with it. And I was like how much, I'm being a lot bigger at the moment. And it's interesting because my body's gone through this process of becoming a lot bigger. When I say a lot bigger, I mean I've gone from being a size 12 to a size 14, so maybe not a lot bigger, but it feels like that one size up just feels a lot bigger to me. I think our good old neighbour is smoking, so I'll have to go in a sec, because I need to get the washing off the line before it reeks of smoke. Okay. And so I was just aware that I'm being a lot bigger. So my body has become a lot bigger, and now it kind of feels like my behaviours are becoming bigger. I'm not sort of stopping myself. I'm just kind of going with it. Soul-led, I guess. Intuitive-led. Maybe intuitive-led. Just kind of going with it. Oh, the wind is blowing this way. Into my clothes. And so yeah, so it's interesting. It's interesting to witness. It's interesting to witness that yeah, things, my behaviours are becoming more and more, and I'm just doing it, and then afterwards I'm going, oh my goodness, did I overstep the boundary? Am I being too much? Am I being full on? People are going to think that I'm da 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 da. I did think that our neighbour would start the smoking early, even though it is a glorious day. It's like 19 degrees. The their the smoking now is their heater. That's their yeah. So on that note, I shall bid you adieu and go and take my washing off. Mum life, right?